the poorer countries tend to have that kind of riots and problems with the food and prices. They move together. This is nominal prices. In the case of nominal prices, the recent prices look really a big rise, but when we see the real prices, it turns out to be like this. So we can feel, how expensive the food was in the past, like 1960s and 70s. So we are lucky, and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah.
But that is the way, with the advancement of the technology. But even the people in the 1960s and 70s, they are happier than those people who are 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, like
Yeah.
then. So the world is getting better and better. I don't feel it that way. And some people say the situation is getting worse and worse, but I don't think so. Overall, it's getting better and better. By the way, Alex, you know the Bible, right?
Yes.
And there's Old Testament and New Testament. Old
Yes.
Testament was written like 3,000 years ago up to the 500 BC. And
Yeah.
in that Old Testament, there is a verse saying that don't say that it was good before. Don't say. So that is even in the Old Testament, people are still saying that. Old Testament was good. But don't complain like. Right.
Yeah.
So let's think that the current situation, modern society is always is nice. But of course, if we make some the bad decision, the bad policies, then it will be a different story.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this real prices, we always have to think and look at the view of the real prices when we look at the change in the prices during the last 50 years, over time anyway. So this technology and the land improvement, all kinds of technologies, including infrastructure, is improving. And we just look through those price data, particularly this data. We have a lot of data in there. And so here, this is the dairy prices, and this red one is crude oil prices, and the daily movement is very, closely related to between the oil prices and then the commodity prices, agricultural prices. So, of course, we have some overproduction of the grains. Then the prices tend to go down, and sometimes we get the crop failure. Then we have higher prices. So over time, the grains do not necessarily go with the trend of the crude oil prices, but the daily price movement is very, very similar. So actually, we tested and then with the daily data, and Professor Kameyama did that too with the students before. So nowadays, the crude oil and then crops are indirect substitutes, kind of indirect substitutes, because we produce ethanol out of the grains. And then this is the situation of the short run and then long run. In the case of short run, there is no difference in the production. Once you harvest, it's set. So when the demand moves, then the price goes up really fast, like this. But in the long run, they can adjust, so the price movement is smaller. And we go back to we'll come back to this supply and the demand curves later. And of course, this one in the production, they adjust with each other, and so that the producer can make more profit. And then when it goes to the consumption, then food, feeding, and bioenergy, they adjust also. And then and within their food, they adjust also. If the rice price is so high, then they tend to eat more wheat and less rice, and vice versa. And the livestock is there. If the livestock price, meat price is very expensive, then we eat less. Then the consumption of livestock is getting smaller. So the demand for feeding is less. That way, the livestock prices would come down. And then all those situations just adjust themselves. And then this is the situation for the energy. Okay. So production, just the consumption, always adjust themselves. And the transmission, we always transmission missions there among the countries, and then between the same crop, same commodity, there's a transmission among the countries, and then sometimes among the crops there's a price transmission as well. And in that modern society, well, with the electric data, the information just goes immediately, instantly. So the prices in the world are pretty much similar. And only non-free trade situation, then the situations are a bit different, and the politically insulated sometimes to protect the domestic producers, sometimes consumers as well. So we have a lot of studies done by many people, and how much we are slow to transmit. That is something to do with the policies. So we can suggest, or we can tell the policymakers, we should change the policies such and such. Okay. And then the production, this, when the prices are low, the production would not increase much. So sometimes they decrease. Just like we see here for wheat. And here for rice, it is declining. It lasted for 6 years, before they get the new record. Or here, there is a 7-year period, and one time, and then the second time, So the low prices really discourage the farmers or against the production increases. So the price is very, very important. And then after that, the price hike because of the increases in the crude oil prices, then production is increased remarkably over here. You can tell. Okay. And for that, the technology advancement, innovation, always there. And this is the case with Arkansas in the United States. And supply curve just shifts over time because of the technology improvement. And this is the same for every place in the world, and all types of products, even in the computer. You buy computer occasionally, I assume, and the prices remain the same, over time, but the quality of the computer became better and better. So supposed to be the price should go up because of the better quality, but prices remain the same. That is due to the technology innovation, technology improvement. So this is happening everywhere, all the time, as long as human being exists in this world. And these supply curve shifts outward, and also supply curves get flatter. And that means we respond to the changing situations more quickly, over time, more quickly in modern time than before. So the prices does not change much, change less, and then the production increase more. Well, then you may come up with the questions that in the during the last 10 years, the prices just went up so much. Well, that is because the oil prices went up. So this is the case. Everything else remains the same. Then only demand change. Then comparing the old supply curve and the new supply curve, with the new supply curve, modern supply curve, we tend to have less fluctuation of prices. And in the case of yields, they still continue to increase. Like, in 1990, in this area, and then, the prices were rather low, and people are wondering, the yields are not increasing. So they are talking about the, some kind of limit, and the soil is getting bad, things like that. And then we may have a food crisis, but that is because the prices are low. And then when the prices go up, then the yields just continue to go up. We don't know how much. Well, this is the global average, And in the case of corn, like in the United States, do you know how much yield they get?
No.
If you go into the our homepage, let me see. Let's take. Where is that? let me see. Zoom. And okay, so let's just take a look at the we look at corn here, right?
Yes.
This is first the global situation, world total just comes in. So we go into the United States, and the United States is over here. Okay, so this is the corn production of the United States, and this is the area and then yield. Oh, yield is here. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is 10 and 12 between. So this is just about 11 tons per hectare. 11 tons per hectare. It's amazing. So at least we can say that we have potential to increase our global yield up to the 11, if everything just, all the technologies comes in to the individual countries. You understand?
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So that's why I really enjoy looking at the this kind of data. So back here, again, and of course, this difference in yields, and so the prices are very important. And we just looked at the situation of the price hike during 2006 and 2014, and while the population increased 10.2%, the rice increased just about 15%, wheat 22%, corn almost 50%, and the soybeans 36%. Way more than the population growth. If it's the same rate as population, then the situation remains the same. But the food production goes much faster when the prices are high. So this one just tells you the when we have a shortage, the prices go up, and then that high prices just stimulate the producers to produce more. So that's the mechanism. Okay. And so the power of money, this is very important, and price is just like the salary for us. Okay, so Bible says, the money is quite important. Okay. And again here, this is the case of rice, but the yields. Japan didn't pay much attention about the increasing yields of rice, so this is remaining around this 5 tons per hectare. But in the case of United States, they encouraged to increase yields, so it just grew. So nowadays, the United States is the highest with the yields of rice, so as the corn. But like China, they increased really fast. And then Vietnam, they did really well. But of course, after the Vietnam War, they did really fast. So that kind of a conflict was very, very bad for agriculture. And the Thailand and Africa, of course, Thailand is a peaceful country, and it has lots of land. And they really didn't feel the increasing yields. But of course, some lands are very, very productive. So eventually, Thailand and Africa will increase yields for the future. So now, the prominent food production growth with the ODA programs, and we're gonna look at the case of the Cerrado, Brazil. Okay. By the way, ODA. Have you heard ODA?
Yes.
Okay. What's the full name?
Overseas Development Assistant.
Overseas Development Assistance. Okay. I thought that before, but real official name is Official Development Aid.
Okay.
I think. So you can double check.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. So, ODA money is like United States. Have you heard the USAID?
Yes.
Yes. The USAID is the agency for dealing with ODA money. And in Japan, JICA is the one. And in Korea, they have Konika. Koika, excuse me. Koika.
Yeah.
And things like that. And the United States at the highest in terms of the money that they provide, and France and then Great Britain, and, Germany, those countries are the among the highest, and suddenly Japan is included also. And usually they express in US dollars, so the exchange rate makes a big difference. Right now we have just about 110 yen per dollar, but 6-7 years ago our exchange rate was 80 yen per dollar. So at that time, the Japanese ODA money was way, up. And one time, Japan was the top, even more than the United States provided. But nowadays, it's among the top 5. Okay. All right. So remarkable land development in Serra do Brazil. Okay. Under the international collaboration. And the important thing is, from a barren land to a rich land, they converted the soil quality, and with the soil improvement, putting the chicken manure and the lime, etc. They have to put lots of things. And, acid land and then base land, it was this Cerrado is a very strong acid land, like in terms of pH, pH, that the chemical sign,
Yes.
pH is just like 4.5, the neutral is 7.
7, yes.
Yeah. And it has to be a little bit over 7.1 or 7.2. But the land like with the soil with the pH at the 5 or 4.5, that's a very poor soil. So they changed it, And before, it was considered just impossible possible, but they changed. And actually, there is a land, 200 million hectare, all area in the Cerrado. Okay. So basically, just about half is can be developed anywhere. Whereas some certain area, just about half can be developed. You know, of course, you know, environment is very important, so we have to protect the you know, to a certain level. So basic idea is just about half can be developed, and of course, there has to be a rainfall, enough rainfall for agriculture, and they have the rainfall. Only problem was the soil quality. Okay, and this is the Cerrado area. Okay, Cerrado area. Then this is the Amazon River. You know, Amazon River, and this is the equator. Equator. Okay, so and Brazil is way big everywhere up to here, and this is Uruguay, and this is Argentina. Okay, so this is just about 20 times as big as Japan. Okay, and the population is rather similar. I think they have a little bit more in Brazil than Japan. So this area really huge for Cerrado. Okay, so there are 200 million hectares. And by the way, here this is a little bit you know, red one. This is Brasilia. Okay, so Brasilia is located right in the middle of the Cerrado. Okay, actually, the president in Brazil back in 1950s, he wanted to develop the Cerrado. Okay? That's why he moved the capital from this area. I think before the Rio de Janeiro, and moved to this, you know, very lonesome area. Very lonesome area. There actually practically there was nothing, and then they started the capital. So that was quite a big challenge. But now this capital is very big, and it's a nice city. Mm. So you know, so this was a barren area before. Okay, and this is this south 25 degrees south. Yeah. So your country is located, you know, in terms of this latitude, somewhere here.
Yeah, it is just between equator and this northward. Equator and north, maybe 25 or so. That's not far.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
It's north of equator. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So anyway, this is the area, the Cerrado area. You know, this kind of things. There are some trees, but they don't grow much, and then these small ones, the bush, you know. So the very bad soil. So you know, even trees cannot grow much. Okay. Okay. But after that, you know, they develop like this. Okay. The land is so flat. The elevation is just like around 1,000 meters, pretty high. And this is the just slashed, and then they have to take the trees out of the land, and then you know, burn it, and then make land like this. Okay, this is rather new land, and once they make like this, they do lots of this is a sorghum. Okay, this is a sorghum, and they grow soybeans. They want to grow soybeans, but right at the beginning, you know, they just imagine here is the land, and then they you know, clean up this kind of trees. There are some still small pieces of trees left on the ground. So if they grow soybeans, soybeans just grow from the ground. Like you see, soybeans grow like this, and then the sorghum just grow like this. I cannot write good. Or even the rice just grow like this, right? So can you see it?
Yeah, can see.
No, nothing.
I can see.
Oh, you can see.
Yeah. No, no. It is too near now. It was okay. Okay.
さっきの場所でもうちょっと戻してください。
Yeah, I was thinking of using that.
It was just appearing, but not okay.
見えてます。大丈夫です。
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so kind of straw, you know, is important right at the beginning for the first 2-3 years. You know, if they grow soybeans, then they have to cut right at the bottom, and then at the time they tend to pick up those small wood pieces. Then that causes a problem for the machine, for the harvester. So in the case of rice or sorghum, they cut right on the top. So no pieces, wood pieces would come into the harvester. So that's why they grow this kind of sorghum, and then also upland rice. They don't have enough water for the paddy rice. And then 2-3 years, and then they put a lot of chicken manure, and then also those limestones, you know, the powder of the limestones, and then they make the soil quality into acid, into
Alkaline.
neutral, alkaline, yes. And that way, okay, this is the farmer who has just about 20,000 hectares, you know, and this is very good for the soybeans. This is a soybean now, and this is a center pivot, and with the irrigation. So it was nothing, but the turns out to be this much of a productive area. Okay, this is the area. You cannot find any mountains or hills, you know, 360 degrees. And This is, I don't know which one was west or east or north. This is the for area, okay, from the road. It is that big. You know. It used to be only bushes, you know, but now it is a very, very productive area. Yeah, maybe later I can show you more pictures. And because of such a big land, you know, there is a precision agriculture, you know, with the satellite, and you can just do continuously. This is soybeans after the harvest. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a machine for the. This is a harvester for possibly this is for cotton. Okay, but you know, you can change the attachment. Right?
So they're using John Deere.
Oh yeah, John Deere is quite common there. Okay, so this one to show you the soybean areas in Cerrado and non-Cerrado area in Brazil. Okay, this is 1,000,000 hectare. So this red one is a non-Cerrado, and then blue one is a Cerrado. The before, you know, the Cerrado area is almost nothing, right? And the non-Cerrado area, that's the southern area, is the major agricultural land area, and then the northern area, Cerrado, is increasing their land for soybeans, and then surpassed the Cerrado, surpassed the non-Cerrado area. So this is a share of the Cerrado in Brazil. You know, it's more than 60% producing in Cerrado. Okay, so it is changed that much, and then you know it is a bad soil. So what's the yields? Okay, in the case of this one, red one is non-Cerrado, and then blue one is Cerrado. Okay, so you know, even right at the beginning, you know, the area is small, but they're improving, you know, so hard, and the yield is always above, most of the time above the non-Cerrado area, and it just continues. Okay, and this thing is over 3 tons per hectare. Okay, so I just want you to look at the excuse me. Okay. Okay, here back to the data. Okay, this is the United States. Okay, we're looking at corn. So we look at the soybeans. Where is the soybeans? Okay, soybeans here. Okay. All right. The soybeans, the most current, the yield in the United States is just about 3.5 tons per metric ton, right? The situation in the United States is basically most advanced, except for wheat. In the case of wheat, the European countries like Great Britain is very much advanced, and then so as the France. But in the case of soybeans, you know, largest producer is the United States, and in that country, the yield per hectare is 3.5. Let's look at the Brazil. South America, Brazil here. Okay, see, 3.5. Excuse me. The 2018, it is a little bit over 3, like 3.2. But you know, 2017, it is like a 3.5. So just about the same as the United States, you know. So the Brazilian technology advanced that much, you know. Before it was small yields, but the you know, that kind of improvement in their country. Of course, they did lots of research, and there's a joint project between Japan and Brazil, and they work together. Okay,
Yeah.
so this one just tells you how much you can improve. And let's look at the total production in Brazil. Here, like 120 million tons of soybeans. 120 million tons of soybeans. Okay. And what about the United States? Again, over here. 120, a little bit more than 120.
Yeah.
So probably the Brazil will surpass the United States, and then Brazil is going to be the biggest producer of soybeans.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can see over here. This kind of improvement in Brazil, and particularly the Cerrado. Okay. And in the case of soybeans, okay, this is the 2016 situation, and the share of Cerrado in Brazil, it's like over 60%. Okay, and then global production is 351 million ton. Okay, and then production in Brazil is 114. Yes, 2016, 114 million. And then share of Brazil relative to the to the world, 33%. The United States is also like this, around 35%. But by the way, the share of the Cerrado to the world is
20%.
Yes, 20%. Very big.
Big.
Very big. Okay. All right. Then we estimated, just in case we really didn't have a Cerrado development, you know, the Japan didn't collaborate with the Brazil, or Brazil just couldn't do anything because there is no funding. You know, then what would have happened? Well, this is the situation of the results of the estimates. The economic impacts of agricultural development in Cerrado and Brazil, and the benefits to Japan. The benefits to Japan is just in case there is no production in Cerrado, then what would have happened? We estimated elasticities of the of soybeans, the supply with prices, you know, this situation. If the supply increase 1%, then, excuse me, then the price would decrease. How much? This is the elasticity, okay?
Yes.
So this one is, if the supply increase 1%, then price decrease 0.4%. Yeah, this is the elasticity is all about. Occasionally we say, if the supply increase 10%, then price would decrease 4%. Like you know, the two-digit numbers sometimes we say, rather than 1%. And then in the case of soybean meal, such and such, okay, and the soybean oil, such and such, okay. And then shares of products in Cerrado is a 20%, right? As we saw in the previous slides, 20% in the world. So global prices in 2016 was this $363 per metric ton. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, increases in the global price if no production in Cerrado. Then with this elasticity, we multiply with this one. Okay? Then the price would increase 8.28% if there were no production in Cerrado for the soybeans. Okay?
Yeah.
So that means 8.28% is $30 per metric ton. $30 per metric ton relative to this price. So if there were no production in Cerrado, Japan had to pay more by $30 per metric ton instead of $363. Well, just adding that, $393, right? Adding this to this.
Yeah. 390. Right? Yes.
So what about the imports to Japan? How much do they import in Japan? Like 3 million tons, over 3 million tons every year. Okay, so we just simply multiply 3 million ton with this one, $30 per metric ton. Okay, then turns out to be $95 million. This is what the Japan got the benefit because of this collaboration and developed the Cerrado. In terms of Japanese yen, this is the 10 billion yen. So this is quite a big benefits. And then this one is this is not only soybeans, but also in Cerrado, soybean milk, corn, they produce corn, wheat, cotton, and then beef, pork, broiler, and coffee beans as well. Okay?
Yeah.
So it turns out to be lots of products in Brazil, in Cerrado. So all those things, just from this developed to grow. Okay. Okay. Let's just take a 10-minute break. and then we come back for more. Okay?
Okay.